Hey everyone, this is Brian from Motive Training, and today we're going to review hip flexion. So I have RJ here, he's on his back, and we're doing this laying down because it's slightly easier for you to feel out your hip flexors. So when we talk about hip flexion, we're talking about bringing the knee toward the chest. That front side of that hip is going to be working quite a bit. I'm going to have RJ actually take his hands and put them on his hips. And the reason is we want to feel if RJ is getting any lumbar or pelvic movement, because that is not part of hip flexion for our intents and purposes. We're trying to get maximal hip flexion and nothing else. So if RJ finds that he's rocking his hips as he pulls his knee up, he's going to probably be using a lot of other stuff instead of using just his hip flexor. So when we train the hip flexors, like when you squat or when you lunge, we want those muscles to not have to rely on the lumbar spine, the pelvic girdle, to kind of carry the movement, right? You want to actually use your hip flexors, your quads, those muscles on the front side of the leg to propel you out of the bottom of a squat. You don't want your lower back completely rounding. So anyway, RJ is going to demonstrate what hip flexion looks like. The left knee is going to bend, and he's going to try and pull that knee kind of toward his chest and armpit in a straight line as high as he can go. It shouldn't be pinchy. It might be uncomfortable because he's shortening the front side of his hip a lot, but he should be feeling just the front side and maybe slightly on the outside of that left hip firing up a lot. He's not externally rotating his leg, he's not internally rotating his leg, and he is not rounding his pelvis. So I can push him and it will lift him higher off the ground because he's actually rounding his lower back. He's getting more of his back involved. That is not the goal. If you can't pick your leg up independently, so if you're having trouble doing this on your own at home, there's a good chance you lack actual hip flexion and you're relying on a bunch of other stuff to make it seem like you're flexing your hip. Try this out, see if you can bring your knee up in a straight line without any compensation, see if you can get that hip to fire, and then go from there.